Welcome everybody to Somewhere in Vegas here on our new home, Spreaker.com. I am Mark the Q. I am your host. We have two great guests that are really making their way through the music world as we speak. Our second guest will be Guerin, who will be talking a little bit about his career as a hip-hop artist. But we'll kick things off with JP Castillo, who has two hit singles out right now and has just gotten off tour with J-Lo. My guest had a very busy summer touring with Jennifer Lopez. Very talented in terms of starting on drums, but has made his way throughout all the instruments in the band. Currently right now he has two great singles released and really having a lot of success right now on YouTube as well. JP Castillo is on with us right now. How you doing, JP?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, like I said, busy summer for you, being out on tour and on that. How's it been for you to kind of go on tour and take a look at the country and be able to perform for live audiences?
It's been amazing. It's just been a great step in the right direction for me, and you know, it's a blessing when you get to do what you love for a living. So it's definitely an awesome experience.
To be able to, perform live is obviously something different than being in the studio. I mean, just to be able to get that fan reaction, to be able to, really get that energy from the crowd. I mean, how was it for you to perform in front of crowds and, kind of get the reaction to some of your songs live?
It was amazing. I mean, we were on tour for the whole summer, and once we got overseas, they approached me about they had seen my video, they had seen my stuff, and they wanted to get some artists to open up the show overseas and warm up the audience and all that, and they approached me about it, and it was just an honor to be approached. They had seen my stuff, and I did the first show overseas, and they just loved what I was doing. They saw the reaction of the crowd, and they asked me to just keep opening the rest of the tour.
Yeah, I mean, to get international exposure like that is big too, because it's not just the U.S. market that that you get to exposure to as well. I mean, gives you opportunities to kind of expand your fan base. How was it for you to, especially on social media, to be able to get a new fan base out there over the summer?
Oh yeah. It's super, super cool to be able to connect with people. That's one of the things that I love most about social media and being active on Instagram and the different platforms that I'm on. Just to hear people's reactions, to hear people's comments about what they enjoyed about my performance, or I just get random messages, and I'm still getting messages from people in Russia and Spain who love the show, and who just are discovering my music, and it's such a powerful tool to just be able to connect with people, and no matter where you're at in the world, you could just reach out at any point and we can connect. And so yeah, that's super dope.
Like I said, you're just really connecting, like I said, on social media platforms, on YouTube as well, and you're getting a lot of reaction obviously there as well. I mean, it's great to be able to see, get yourself getting on the right foot, especially early in your career. But let's kind of talk a little bit about early on in your career. I mean, you started out as a drummer. Your father was a drummer. Your mother was a singer.
That's right.
And, how was it for you to kind of live in a musical family and get that kind of influence?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, thinking back. For me, it was normal growing up and showing up after school, in middle school, actually my whole life, since I was born, my parents have been musicians. My dad was a nationally recognized drummer in Costa Rica as a jazz musician. My mom's a singer. She's toured with some of the great Latin artists, Celia Cruz, Johann Sebastian, just a bunch of great artists. And so for me, it was normal to come home and there would be instruments everywhere, rehearsals, all kinds of stuff going on in the house. So it was a normal upbringing. So for me, I actually kind of rebelled and didn't want to really be in music. I kind of thought it was too obvious, too expected. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do music. I took it for granted until I was about 17, 18. my senior year of high school, I started really, really taking it seriously, and I fell in love with the craft and with performing and with entertaining people and kind of the whole experience of what music is. So it was kind of like two in my face my whole life, and so it became a no-brainer for me. It's just in my blood, and it's been a blessing to have my parents' support and to have that experience, the knowledge that they passed down to me and everything. So.
Excuse me. To be able to have your parents basically, be a part of your life, and to be able to have that experience behind them as well to help you as a musician. I mean, how's that been for you? And is there any huge piece of advice that they've given you?
Well, they've always encouraged me to be whatever I want to be, do whatever I want to do. They never pushed me into music or one way or another. Whatever I showed interest in or whatever I told them that I wanted to do. For a while, I wanted to be a soccer player when I was really young. And so my mom, she went out of her way. She took me to the LA Galaxy because I grew up in LA. She took me to the LA Galaxy headquarters to go meet the coach and all of that, because I was very serious about trying to play soccer. But man, I quickly realized I just wasn't made for that. I'm not the biggest dude, and it was just something that I wanted to do. But my parents have always taught me that it's about hard work, that it's about just doing the best that you can do with what you've been given, and it's mostly been, I haven't had a whole lot of sit down lessons with them. It's been mostly just observing them, and seeing what they do, and my mom's always coaching me about. I grew up hearing a lot of things from my mom, more on the side of like being wise with your money, and how as a self-employed entertainer, you never know when your next gig is going to come or when your next break is going to come. So it's just more of those kinds of things. But as far as pursuing a career and doing all that, I've just had full support from them, and it's always just been about doing the best that you can do and put your best foot forward at all times.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to pick up an instrument a little bit later on. I mean, obviously your father, you've gotten a lot of your talent from your father in terms of your drumming and your singing from your mother, but just to do it a little bit later on. I mean, I hear a lot of the musicians that I've had on the show have started out really, really young. And how's it been for you to kind of almost play catch up a little bit in terms of picking up the drums? And I know you probably had a little bit of experience with it, and just going back into concentrating on doing that stuff. And how's it been for you to basically have a very quick rise after basically just honing your talents over a couple of years?
Yeah, man. I mean, I like I said, I did grow up in the music, just surrounded with music. I grew up in church playing instruments and stuff like that, and I grew up in a very musical environment. So in college, I started playing percussion and drums, and then I switched to singing and writing songs and all of that. And so it's been something that's been years and years in the making. It wasn't a sudden rise. It's just I've been doing this for a very long time, in the sense of the makings of it, of the preparation that I didn't even know I was preparing for. You know what I mean? So it's just been all part of the journey. It's been a blessing, and I'm thankful for everything that I've been able to do. Each gig, the small things, the small local in town things I've done in LA. One of my first big productions that I was a part of was at Disney. So I'm very much an LA kid. You know what I mean? I'm from Costa Rica, but I was raised in LA, and that's kind of like all been part of the journey.
With your songwriting, I mean, it's interesting coming from a drums background, in terms of thinking about what comes a part of a song. When you songwrite, I mean, do you come up with the lyrics first? Is there sometimes where you get a beat in your head and you start hammering that out real quick? Kind of tell me a little bit about the process in terms of songwriting.
Well, in terms of songwriting, I don't have just one formula or one way. me and my partner, we've been writing together for about 4 years now, 4 or 5 years actually, and our up to now, our formula has been coming up with the production side of music, a musical idea that we can vibe with, so that then we write on top of a musical idea that we've come up with. But there are other times, so that's kind of the formula that we mostly use. But there are other times when one of us will come up with a concept. You know, there's a lyrical concept or a melodic concept that we're really like feeling and we want to develop. So then maybe sometimes we'll put music around that. Sometimes it just goes back and forth between a chord progression that we write, you know, the melody and lyrics to, and then we produce it, you know, develop it after the fact. Sometimes depending on the song and what we're trying to accomplish, sometimes it's better to cut the vocals first and make everything revolve around that. And sometimes it's more about the production and the feel of the music. So it's a little bit of a give and take and just trying to ride the wave, let the song tell you what it needs.
One of the questions I like to ask a lot of the musicians that come on here is, you know, what's probably the shortest amount of time it's taken you to produce a song?
The shortest amount of time? That's an interesting question. I haven't had that one. Man, that's a tough one, because most of the stuff we do, you know, we'll sit down and write something, but there's always back and forth. There's always sitting with it for a little bit. I don't think I've ever done a song that I can remember where it was just we did it and that was it. Like, we always have to come back and we want to adjust something, maybe add a guitar or resync a lyric or something. And I think to this point we haven't had that one project yet where we just knock it out of the park in the first session. You know what I mean? There's always tweaks and production and changing a vocal or adding a vocal or something.
Conversely, I mean, are there any like things where you'll go back to that maybe you thought of maybe, you know, a year or two ago and, you know, didn't have anything really for, and then just, you know, you realize that you have something, you know, that you could use or whatever? Or do you keep a log of stuff that you just don't use but you wanted to use at a later date?
Oh, 100%. Right now, me and my partner, we have a catalog of over 300 songs that we've done within the past 4 years, and some of them were meant for other artists. Some of them were already recorded and cut by other artists. Some of them haven't. Some of them we did for different types of things, and we have songs for women, songs for men, male artists. Right now, I'm working on my next single, and that's one of those songs that we wrote a couple years back, and we're kind of making some changes to the production, kind of taking it in a little bit of a different direction to fit what I'm trying to do now. But that's definitely one of the angles that we have is I definitely never throw away a song, or if something is good, it's good. You know what I mean? Sometimes you might have to update some of the production or things like that, but a good song is always a good song.
Talk a lot about production, and you know, obviously that means going into the studio and producing the song as well. I mean, how has it been for you? I mean, what was it like the first time you were in the studio? And you know, is it something that you kind of fell in love with, the production side of things, and to be able to figure out what's going on in the studio?
Oh yeah, I mean, first time I went in the studio that I can remember was I must have been 14 or 15. Went in there with my friend to record a song, and it was just something that we wanted to do to perform at church, and I wanted to record. I wanted to get the experience of it, and it's all since then. It's been a challenge for me. Like my biggest, you know, the thing that comes easiest to me is the live element, when I'm performing in front of an audience, when I'm entertaining people, speaking to people, and anything when I'm engaging with a group of people. That's the easy part for me. That's something that comes easy to me, and I love doing it. So the studio, it's more of a challenge of preparing something, polishing it, coming